Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Wednesday, October 9th, 2019. Hope everybody had a great day today. Welcome to the evening edition of the Grand Solar Minimum News. Let's go ahead and start off with some space weather stats right now. We're looking at solar wind speeds pretty low at 381.4 kilometers per second with a density of 5.7. And we do not have any sunspots to report today. Therefore, that makes now 6 days in a row without sunspots and a total of 205 days in 2019 without sunspots. Our TCI reading came in just a little bit lower than what we reported this morning, down from 4.37. It comes in at 4.36. KP indices are at a 2 right now, but a 24-hour max of 4. And let's go ahead and take a look at the SDO in motion up close. That small coronal hole in the southern region is what we are expecting an increase in solar wind speed somewhere around the 12th of October, as that hole now is turning away from Earth. All right, so I wanted to show you guys something real quick here on SPACEWEATHER.com. A couple of things. First and foremost, not the publicity that I wanted for my Cleveland Browns, but they were mentioned, and they were mentioned in a way of something about the 49ers thumped them or something like that. But anyway, the best part about this game is that this fan here in the nosebleeds had enough sense to take a picture of this absolutely gorgeous sunset. And we're talking about the Ryoki sunset is what they're calling this now, with the purple and the orangish. This is what we call a volcanic sunset. So I just thought I'd bring that up. About the only thing positive for me Monday night was this gorgeous, beautiful picture. And then the second thing, I saw a comment earlier talking about TCI, and they wanted to know the history of it. And to be honest with you, I'm still learning myself, but SpaceWeather.com tracks it. And here it shows us where we had the record cold for the TCI, the thermosphere, and then we have the record warmth in the maximum. So it shows you just how cold it is even right now. We're not record, but 4.36 is definitely very cold when you consider that 49.4 was the max. So right now we are still a little bit a ways from that record cold set back in October of 2009. I'm sorry, February 2009. But we are definitely getting close, and we haven't even begun this so-called minimum just yet. It's already it's happening, and we are heading into 25 right now. So we still have about 3 or 4 years before we start to see some minor activity pop back up on the sun and go into its max season, which, I'm not so sure how much of that's going to actually happen this year when it comes to maximum sunspot count. But no, I just wanted to point out where we get our stats from on our space weather station here. I know a lot of you folks see this in the mornings and they see the TCI, and it's very vague, but our source, we get this information here as from SpaceWeather.com, and they are doing an excellent job. In fact, when we started this channel 3 years ago, this was a this was a website that I was able to go to and get the daily stats, and I always felt like that, okay, solar wind's important, sunspots are important, the stretch of how many days without sunspots is important. You can see that in the graph, how many days here, how many days that weren't here. Now we're tracking things like cosmic rays, the neuron counts now, and that's also on spaceweather.com right here. That's the latest. All right, we're almost at record highs right now. So the TCI is almost at record cold, and cosmic rays is about 1.7% away from record highs, space age record highs. But thanks to SpaceWeather.com, where they are putting their tools and everything to use here to help people understand, the folks that do follow this topic, I think this is one of the best websites that you can go to to understand space weather a little bit more and become more familiar with it. So when you go to this page and you're following this, and then you happen to follow us as well, this seems like cake work for you as far as understanding what's happening when we're talking about this stuff here. All right, let's move on here. Some more space weather stuff. Go to our website, thegrandsolarminimum.com. And here's something I always like to check out is what's happening all the way around the sun. We always see active regions try to form around the negative 180 and then they die. Pretty much it's what we see almost on a weekly basis. Right now we're 6 days without a sunspot. We do have another coronal hole that is starting to become, well, the presence is being known on the eastern limb, I should say. This might be the same coronal hole, if I'm not mistaken, that we've seen with Dorian, and then believe it or not, Lorenzo as well. And so here we are again. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure this is the same zone that at least gave us Dorian's strength as well. But this coronal hole, the size of this one compared to what we saw during Dorian, is nowhere near as big as what we're witnessing right now. This could spark, though, G1 geomagnetic activity. I have seen that result with this kind of coronal hole, the size that we're looking at right now, and it could even get bigger as it turns towards Earth. All right, let's go ahead and check out our TSI, another thing that we monitor on the Grand Solar Minimum channel, and it's dropping a little bit, and very little, but we are now at 1360.603. Now, this is how small the change the TSI really is, too. Most nights I'll report it at 1360.67 or 0.68 or 0.65, and every once in a while 0.7. And tonight, just to give you an idea where it's at now, 1360.60. So it is actually in danger of dropping to 1360.5 for the first time in quite some time, actually. So keeping eyes on that as we have watched the TSI continue to go towards a downtrend. All right, let's go over to the grandsolarminimum.com. Whoops, I was looking at something here, and I'll just I'll do this while we wait. I hate that when people spin up to the top of the website, and there might be people out there who are sensitive and could get sick. Who knows? All right, so let's get back to the grandsolarminimum.com. By the way, thank you, Mari, for this gorgeous new logo. She is such a crafty designer. I mean, the website, the YouTube channel, I'm a lucky guy. Anyway, 2 to 3 feet of snow to bury crops in North Dakota. Red flag warning in the west. Massive power outage. And beautiful picture here from God's country up in Maine. This is from our very loyal subscriber and moderator, Thor. Thank you very much for this awesome shot. If anybody's into painting, here you go. Go ahead and screenshot this. This would make an awesome oil painting. All right, so let's get right into it. Unfortunately, more people have been killed due to flooding waters. This is in Iran. Widespread floods kill 5 people, displace more than 100 people in Iran. Continuous heavy rainfall on October 1st through the 4th of October caused widespread floods in Iran, killing at least 5. Among the 22 affected provinces, this one here is South Khorasan, Fars, Hormozgan, something like that. Sistis. Wow.
Just stop.
Just quit it. A lot of those areas were hit the hardest. All right, let's just say that. There were some areas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas that were hit worse than the other 22. Victims were killed in 2 separate flooding incidents in the provinces that we just mentioned. According to the reports, floodwaters swept at 2 vehicles with victims on board. Among the fatalities were a woman and a child. 137 were evacuated from the area, 300 people affected. Here's a message from a guy on Twitter. I urge all my fellow compatriots to rush to the aid to the flood-hit residents of this province, where a number of our countrymen have lost their lives after 40 years. The clerical regime has brought nothing to the people of Iran except devastation, destruction, and plunder. Okay, sorry about that part. Basically, just another headline where we're seeing these insane floodings, flash flooding, killing people This is a lower number than what we've seen, but again, we don't see this kind of flooding really in Iran. Places like Turkey as well have had it this bad. And we've reported floods in Iraq, Saudi Arabia. I mean, the Middle East has been ravaged with flash flooding this year. Thanks to the Watchers.net, Watchers.news, I should say, for coverage on this particular topic. Thank you, Joey, for the GSM coffee mug. Looking good on that 5.7 liter there. Has that thing got a Hemi? All right. Wind raised fire risk in California, prompting a public safety power shutoff that could affect 800,000 people. So the power is being turned off for the 9th, 10th, and 11th, potentially affecting at least 800,000 people. Winds from the same source set to bring another round of cold air and heavy snow to the interior Northwest, increase wildfire ignition threats, and spread over California. As a safety precaution, electricity will be turned off for some parts of California on the dates that I just mentioned. According to AccuWeather, Brett Anderson, winds from the north and the northeast are expected to have an average speed of 15 miles per hour with gusts up to 30 miles per hour. They're saying gusts of 60 miles per hour in the north and northeast facing canyons and passes. Stronger gusts are most probable over the summit and ridges. These gusty winds pose risk and causing occasional power outages when power lines are knocked down. Sparks could trigger wildfires. This is the current statistics on power outages right now. And I will tell you this, Edison, here in Southern California, that number was 4,000 people were without power before we went on the air live. That number has jumped up 22,000 people. We are approaching almost 600,000 people without power in the first day of this power outage event. But like I said, this was not here before we started the broadcast tonight here in Orange County. 22,000 customers out. That's up from 4,000. That's only 5.8% of its customers. So when you look at these numbers, you're thinking, oh, this is pretty small. True. But imagine what this power outage is doing to businesses, schools, and homes alike. And there's a lot of frustrated people out here right now, and so should they. Another spot here that Watchers.news points out, San Francisco Chronicle, another area we can check out where these are the areas of the power outages. And then when I click on this button here, you can see the fire zone risks and the extreme areas right now are near San Bernardino, Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, you know, the typical areas right now. And 22,000 have lost power in Edison County now, or I'm sorry, Edison Power Company. This was actually talked about a little bit earlier tonight, whether or not they would join in this power outage party, so to speak. And they weren't sure yet. And like I said, I saw the report of 4,000 in the beginning, and now we are up to 22,000. So the bright red is the extreme fire risk. The light red is elevated risk. In either sense, every area that we have power outages, you guys see there is an elevated risk for fire. Now, I understand the where people are upset. I understand that, you know, a lot of folks need their power for certain things. Maybe you're on a medical equipment. Maybe, you know, if you're diabetic, you have to keep insulin cool. Of course, you could have a cooler. So there's some things you can suffice for a few days. But where I'm going with this is seeing some of the stats from the fire in Paradise, where 86 people lost their lives, and other areas, a part of California, that were just burned to the ground and looked like something out of a apocalyptic movie. That, to me, I feel like this entire power outage thing is a traumatic reaction from last year's disasters. And in a way, it also takes the liability away from the power company as well. There could be an issue with budgets where in the beginning, maybe these power companies, had the funds to pay for the damages caused by wildfire. I'll tell you, after last year, there's no way. So these are extreme precautions, in my opinion. There are a lot of angry people, but I think what we're witnessing here, it is scary for a lot of folks, but we're also dealing with people who are this is the way they're going to deal with what happened last year and how deep their hurt is about those disastrous fires that burnt everything down. And that was, like I said, we've never seen something like that before. And I think it really freaked people out. And, there's some folks out there that believe that wildfires are increasing because of man-made global warming. Tony Heller does a great job at telling us that back in the 1910s and 20s and 30s, we had way more wildfires than we do right now. I'm talking well over the amount that what we're seeing now. It's very low compared to what we saw back in the early 1900s. So I feel like that there's some sympathy definitely for these power companies of how affected and how traumatized some folks are still from last year's disasters. And I wonder if that played a part in this really unusual strategical call. Let's go ahead. And power outages continue to rise. So we'll keep our eyes on this. Hopefully these folks don't keep their power out too long. But Mari, correct me if I'm wrong. It was you that told me that before they switch these grids back on, they have to inspect every part of the lines and the poles.
You can't just flip the switch and turn the power on. There's a certain process to get the power flowing, and also this would be, if they just flip the power on without inspecting the lines, everything would be done in vain. They actually have to send out line crews to inspect every line, because if they flip the switch and something went, it could spark something. So to me, it's like, this is like a whole new level of extreme precautionary measures we've ever seen. It's just downright crazy to me, especially when you look at the wind speeds and the forecast outlooks for the wind speeds. It's like,
but those are just listen. I know 15 miles an hour with gusts at 25 miles and 30 miles. Listen, that's a lot. That is enough. If you have dry conditions and you haven't seen much moisture, that is enough to fan that. So, but no, I know what you mean. For the average person, they're looking at the winds like, well, 15 miles an hour, that's normal.
Get that,
but when you're talking about dry conditions, you're seeing they're in elevated fire risks. Their concern is that one little spark with the right amount of wind could possibly.
Well, all right. So 87 people died in the fires last year. How many people are going to die because of medical issues that could have been so easily?
Well, let's hope zero.
It's a concern. I think this is an unnecessary risk.
It doesn't seem normal.
I lived in California for 3 years, and this is just extreme and wild to me. I can't even imagine living in California and having to deal with this.
I mean, people are pretty ticked off about it.
They have every right to be. It's outrageous. That's what this is. It's outrageous. I don't get it, Jake.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch how this plays out.
Think about all the years California has the droughts and have the fires. I remember the first year I moved to California. I drove in around, I think I drove in near Burbank through the mountains, and I could see the fires, and it was very apocalyptic. But this is something people have dealt with for years and years and years and years and years. This is not, there's seasons. It's a seasonal thing, and how bad things get really depends on the season. It also depends on, you know, what efforts the forest department has done into doing controlled burns and maintaining the forest. They are supposed to get rid of a lot of the debris, so there is less chance for things to spark and catch up. And that was part of the issue last year. How it got so bad was just lack of maintenance, bad management. And it was an electrical issue. I know there was a lot of conspiracy about that last year, but it was clearly a grid, like a transformer or something blew. There was video of it that showed it, what sparked it. So, and it does travel, but to me it's like, this is way over the top. We'll see how it plays out, but all. I just don't, I think this is crazy. That's my own personal opinion.
There's other reports out there. I know there's other people that are reporting 2.7 million people could be affected. And I saw another channel on YouTube that said that 3 million people could be affected. Right now, we're under 600,000 people. So out of the 800,000 that they said it could affect, in the first day alone, so far we've seen 600,000, almost 600,000 people without power. We will continue to watch that story as we move through the week. And Hagibis intensifies to a Category 5 super typhoon and one of the most explosive intensification rates on record, heading towards Tokyo, Japan. That's pretty impressive claim here. We have winds right now of 160 miles per hour sustained. Super typhoon. The gusts, we're talking what? We're not reporting gusts at this time. So when I see 160 miles per hour and I think about the damage that did to the Bahamas, also that we are talking about what 185 mile an hour winds will do if this thing continues to intensify. But at this point, though, 160 miles per hour is still a Cat 5, and no matter how you look at it, Cat 5 is Cat 5. 1983 Super Typhoon Forest had winds intensifying from 75 miles per hour to 175 miles per hour in a 24-hour period. This storm right here is possibly going to beat that rate. So according to the story, in 24 hours, we jumped up 100 miles per hour in wind speeds from 60 miles per hour into 160. Wow. So pretty strong, actually. It's tying the actual strength here. But still, strongest since we've seen since 1983. During the height of its intense strengthening, Hagibis became a major hurricane level typhoon in just 6 hours. Yeah, water temps are just right out there. Cosmic ray increase that we're seeing right now. We've had several solar wind events over the past several weeks. No geomagnetic storm to speak of, but we did have a 24-hour max of a KP of 4. So that could have increased the pressure, especially the rate of cosmic rays entering our atmosphere. And to hearing that this thing went that big, that fast is, wow, 6 hours. And I just showed you guys the record rates right now for cosmic rays. They're almost at an all-time high record. The 2015 Hurricane Patricia had increased winds from 85 miles an hour to 120 in just 24 hours, just to give you an idea of how fast that went up. At this point, it says Hagibis rate is comparable to that of Patricia. This thing is huge. very bigly, and it almost actually looks like it tries to form another storm within. If you watch here on this little loop right about, well, they're redoing it now. Right there. Wow. That is pretty freaky. Now, since this footage, it is weakening slightly. But still, we are looking and watching this storm heading towards Tokyo, Japan. They are on alert, I'm sure of it, as we all know it. But this is a doozy, folks. So we have this super typhoon that's a Cat 5 in hurricanes terms. We have 800,000 people getting ready to go without power. All right. Thank you again, Thor, for the frost pictures and the fall foliage. Such a beautiful time of year, especially up here in the Northeast, folks. It's looking awesome with all the mountains and the colors. Kill me with dance, says Mari. Yeah, I saw this all over Twitter. You know, I mean, sure. The kids are doing it for climate change.
Henrik agreed to participate in a GSM dance if we decided to do that.
I bet he did.
You know, dance for GSM.
Dance for Henrik.
You know, they do that. The music she's chanting, Jake. This is what we do. This is how we're gonna change it.
Oh, the dancing.
Climate change.
Wow.
Yeah, dance. Climate change, and then meanwhile, if you scroll to the one on the top, he says that he's going to the Extinction Rebellion. They're gonna destroy governments.
Pretty sure they gave everybody there a Molly for that one. So.
Anyway.
All right, so let's get back to some serious news, actually. That was kind of the comedy hour here, is the climate change dancers. But U.S. farmers to get exactly what they didn't want. And I got to be honest with you, I was listening to a podcast. Thank you, Matt, by the way, for pointing this podcast out to me. It's called Ag Talk. And the first 5 minutes of the broadcast, they're talking about the potential snowstorm. They didn't sound too excited whatsoever. They actually very nervous, if you ask me. A lot of stuttering, a lot of what's going to happen. But farmers in the Northwest got a bit of a break as there's been no early frost to impact their crops. However, in this painfully tough season, it seems that every one step forward has been followed by 2 steps back. They didn't get the early frost, but they're going to get an early snowfall instead. That was Mother Nature's gift. That's what Jason Nichols says here at AccuWeather, senior meteorologist. Pretty insensitive of you to even put the word gift right next to this. And I'll tell you something right now. We're expecting around, about 2 to 3 feet of snow in parts of North Dakota. And you want to put the word gift right next to Mother Nature, what she's bringing right now to North Dakota. You know, these people live in La La Land. There's areas that are, look at this, corn percent mature in North Dakota, 22%. The 5-year average for this time of year is 75%. 75%. We're down 53%. And 92% last year this time where the corn was mature in North Dakota. And this bozo global warming believing meteorologist at AccuWeather is going to say that Mother Nature has presented its gift. Terrible phrasing, folks. Corn harvested right now. Last year, this time, 8% of the corn was harvested in North Dakota. That is a big fat 0. 0 last week as well. And guess what? They were probably still 3 more weeks away from doing an actual harvest. Especially in the area that's going to get 2 to 3 feet of snow. Ohio, 11% of your corn has been harvested. 20% last year at this time. And we had some crappy weather last year too. South Dakota, 2% has been harvested right now. 15% was harvested last year at this point. Tennessee and Texas have been doing well all year, and they continue to do well. Actually, Tennessee is doing the best right now. Good for you guys. We need crops somewhere to grow. Tennessee and Texas both. I mean, when you look at dented corn, 100% all around the board. Mature, 100% in Tennessee, 84% in Texas. Well done. Your weather's been a little more favorable. You've had more heat. There's no gift about what's coming in North Dakota here in the next couple of days. It's time to get real, folks. The crop loss, yeah, you can still harvest from what is in the fields, I guess, after the storm. Sure. But I tell you right now, that's all ethanol. That ain't even going to feed cattle. Again, I heard on Ag Talk that 13% of North Dakota's corn crop was mature. All right, they might have been basing it off of last week's numbers. As of October 6th, it says here by the USDA that 22% in North Dakota, their corn is mature. Last year, this time of year, it was 92% of the corn was mature. Nebraska, 91% last year. You're only 74%. That's big for Nebraska. That's a lot. Minnesota, forget about it. 39% right now. 95% was the maturity last year this time. That snow and cold temperatures are following the storm. You're going to be affected as well. Kentucky, well done. Kansas, not too bad. Iowa, they're trying to claw back. I'll say that. It's turning into a decent, but we're still 52% mature and 94% this time last year. Illinois, same thing. 99% last year, only 59, down 40% from last year. So please, all of you meteorologists out there, please refrain from using any words like gift or special or anything like that. Because this kind of news that we're reporting is not special. It's not a gift. Yeah, I know. The article goes on to read that what a lousy gift. I saw it. It says right here, what Mother's Nature return policy on lousy gifts. Again, I don't feel like there's anything to joke about here. But, who am I? Just a guy who runs a YouTube channel, right? I'm not going to go into this. I'd rather just look at our crop report and give you the guys the straight up truth on that. Harvested soybeans, pretty low most places. Louisiana, you're good to go. Mississippi, not bad. Tennessee, you're great. 39% already. 28% was last year's average. Wow. Soybean by condition seems to be improved in most areas. Ohio is still pretty low on the good to excellent crop. North Dakota, not bad on your soybean crop. Again, the corn is what's going to be hurt the worst. But even in North Dakota, soybeans harvested already in North Dakota, 8%. And this time last year, we were at 33%. Here is our forecast. That's it. Most of North Dakota, at least the central to eastern half, is expecting at least a foot of snow. They've expanded this a little bit. Most of South Dakota will get anywhere from 5 to 12 inches of snow. So about a foot in South Dakota. Nebraska, northwestern part of Nebraska, you'll see snow in most of your state as well. See if I can get a better look here. That's a little more extended. Look at this. Northwest Nebraska areas could see over a foot in that region as well. Thank you, but no thank you. Pretty obnoxious. You can't even mute the ad. Like, really?
I need to get copy straight for the fucking song. Sorry.
That's all right. All I wanted to look at was a better wide view of what we're looking at snow-wise. This is through winds. This is through tonight, by the way, folks. So here's the timing of the storm. It really starts getting cranking right now. Into Thursday is where the heaviest is going to be in South Dakota and North Dakota, central to eastern parts of the state. Northern parts of Nebraska will see mixed precipitation and snow. Even Colorado, Denver, still expecting probably around 3 to 5 inches of snow. It's a pretty decent sized snowstorm. And then Friday, heavy snow expected in most of North. So we're looking at about possible a foot Wednesday night, maybe 5 to 8 inches Thursday night, and then probably finishing off with another 5 to 8 inches in eastern North Dakota and South Dakota on Friday. So there you go. That's at least almost 2 feet of snow, possibly 2.5 feet. Earlier forecast, though, some areas are still slated to pick up around 2.5 feet to 3 feet of snow. Fargo, you're in the foot range. Bismarck, also in the foot. Rapid City, localized areas around there could see over a foot. Sioux Falls, you miss it all together. Good for you guys. You don't have to worry about it. But a pretty good swath of snow from North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, northwestern Nebraska, half of Wyoming, and parts of Colorado. So here's some good records here to watch, guys. 8 inches, 16 inches in North Dakota in 91, 8 inches in Fargo in 51. Grand Forks had 10 inches in 2001, 4.9 inches in 1951 in North Dakota. So we'll have to see if any of these records fall. So we have super typhoon. We have, by the way, this is also being looked at as a blizzard type situation as well. So we're going to have blizzard conditions at times in North Dakota when you're expecting that much freaking snow, 2 to 3 feet. High winds. Temperatures are going to drop. Power outage on the West Coast. What else? It's going to get cold. Coldest air of the season will sweep into the South Plains, Midwest, and maybe record-setting in the Colorado Rockies and the West. A powerful cold front is pushing in the west and will sweep towards the plains and Gulf Coast through late week. Check this out. The most expansive fall-like air. Adorable. Thank you. At least this one let me mute it. Very sharp temperature drops will accompany the front. After a high of 70 degrees Wednesday afternoon in Cheyenne, Wyoming, may see low in the mid to upper teens on Thursday morning. So that's almost a 60-degree temperature drop. Denver is expected to drop from 80 degrees on Wednesday to the mid-20s by Thursday morning. So there's 55 degrees drop in less than 12 hours. This powerful cold front will continue its charge south and eastward into the plains, Mississippi Valley, and Great Lakes on Thursday and Friday. Highs will plunge from 10 to as much as 40 degrees below average after the front passes through. Highs may struggle into the 50s and 60s from parts of Texas into Tennessee late into this weekend. Morning lows will be downright uncomfortable by mid-October standards. Teens and 20s will be the rule in the northern Great Basin, Rockies, and High Plains late the week. A few areas with fresh snowpack may see morning lows plunge into the single digits. Look at that. Oklahoma City, Friday, AM lows 38, 33, 44. Dallas, 50, 43, 52. How you like that in Dallas in what, mid-October? Is that cold? But maybe it's just not affecting you because, you're not seeing it. So, okay. The colder air will also penetrate into the south. The weekend lows of 30s are possible as far south as west central Texas, Oklahoma, and the Ozarks, with widespread first frost of the seasons in the plains and upper Mississippi Valley. So we got to get through this another snowstorm. We shouldn't call it winter storm because it's only fall. So let's call it the snowstorm. And then we have cold air to follow it for most of the country that will continue to spread. So we are now seeing a pattern of first freezes and frosts starting to appear across the plains into the Midwest. So what does that mean? It means these areas here in the Midwest, like Iowa with 52% mature corn, that's about to stop right about there. Michigan, 31%, that's about to stop right there. Montana, you're done. 39% of your corn is mature. North Dakota, 22% is mature. You're done. That's it. Wrap it up. South Dakota, 36, you're done. The freeze. Ohio, you will be close to being done. Kentucky, you're fine, but you'll be done soon. Michigan, you'll be done at 31% mature. Illinois, right about 40% lower than last year's corn maturity. You're about done. So with all these corn maturities low and all these areas that are not harvested yet, wow. Lots of concern, folks. The numbers we will know for sure in January. Let's be thankful we have some good to excellent corn out there. Colorado, North Dakota. The corn that you do have is this confuses me. How do they have 72% corn condition is in good or excellent condition, but yet it's not even mature? I guess it's doing good for where it is in the stage of its growth. I guess that makes sense because again, we're behind. So that damage is about to be inflicted. I'm not trying to be a doom guy here today, guys, but let's be real. These temperatures that we're getting ready to witness, that's it. Time to harvest. No more grow. Like Matt says, as long as we got the black layer on the corn, we're good. Some of these areas, I don't think that's the case. We'll have to continue to watch this. More weather, and I'll show you that here in our GFS report here as well. Severe thunderstorms, tornadoes may erupt around the southern edge of a snowstorm. And so, yeah, we're going to be dealing with thunderstorms across the Midwest and the Great Lakes, while behind it we have blizzard-like conditions in Grand Forks. So we have super typhoon, 800,000 for the Santa Ana winds. We have the blizzard in North Dakota wiping out, damaging thousands of acres of crops. We have severe thunderstorms moving through at the same time tomorrow and Friday through the Midwest and the Plain States. And then we have what they call a snowless nor'easter to pummel the Northeast this weekend. Yeah. An intense long-duration storm will lash the mid-Atlantic and southern New England coast with drenching rain, gusty winds, and rough seas and flooding problems. And AccuWeather meteorologists say it could be the heaviest rain event in a few years in parts of the region. This is just all coastal. Boston, Waterbury, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, DC, Dover. This is where we'll see coastal storm from Wednesday through Friday with impacts of coastal flooding, north and east facing beach erosion, local rainfall up to 8 inches in southeast New England, and max sustained winds could be as high as 60 miles per hour. And I can tell you, I was talking to somebody who was in the DC area last night, and the winds have been kicking up over the past couple of days, and last night they just kind of came out of nowhere. So again, we have a snowless nor'easter that's on the northeast, severe thunderstorms across the Midwest, a blizzard in the northern plains, a wind and a red flag advisory all along the west and the southwest. 800,000 people are without power, and this Cat 5 typhoon, super typhoon, that's about to hit Tokyo, Japan. And by the way, we just signed a trade deal with them, so they're definitely going to be able to need to buy produce, because I can only imagine the crop damage that could occur from this particular system. All right, guys, we're still doing our fundraisers. Check out our shops where we have these awesome beanies. We've sold a few of those. Congratulations. We'd love to see pictures of you folks in your GSM merchandise. We do know we sold a few of the beanies already. We're already getting pictures of the coffee mugs. And again, guys, if you want to get in on the call-in show on the Patreon channel, it just costs $1 to join our Patreon channel. You'll have access to the call-in show on Saturday nights, as well as other exclusive content that we will be uploading on Patreon in the near future. So, if you could, help us out a little bit, guys. We have a couple more weeks left in the month of October. We're almost at goal where we need to be to help secure the situation as far as keeping the family property in the family for good after this year, hopefully. So, we're not that far away, folks, and your help is greatly appreciated. If you do happen to purchase a t-shirt off of Teespring, make sure you enter the promo code GSMLOVE for 15% off on all t-shirt and merchandise in Teespring. All right, let's go ahead and go over some of the current weather. We've already talked about snow. The showers and thunderstorms already starting up across the Midwest and Plains, moving into the Tennessee Valley later tomorrow. But right now we're dealing with showers and thunderstorms across Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, and parts of Missouri. And of course, the snowstorm is starting to kick up in Montana, parts of Wyoming, and North Dakota, western North Dakota. You're starting to see your weather event beginning. So let's take a look at this nor'easter, which, by the way, folks, we pointed this out last week. Let's just praise the weather gods that this was not right here. Last week we showed you this thing was right here. Very heavy rain was expected. Thankfully, this storm is staying off the coast inland. There's that gnarly system back there to the west in the northern plains. This little nor'easter without snow is going to spin away as our current snowstorm will push that low away as high pressure will try to invade the northeast. That storm stalls out, by the way, in Canada. The northern parts of Minnesota and Michigan, Wisconsin will get some rain showers and snow showers out of this. But after we move into early next week on Tuesday, for the most part, that system is still kicking in Canada, mainly rain, some light snow, and then another low pressure system makes its way through the northeast and the mid-Atlantic states, and that one almost looks like it could turn into a pretty nasty system. Let's hope that this high pressure is pushing that off to the coast pretty fast as well, because I don't want any of this action over here on the coast. Northwest getting inundated once again with snow and rain. More snow to Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado by Saturday, October 19th, going into the 20th. Another massive low pressure system going across the plains and the Midwest into the northeast. No snow predicted with that at this time. Temperatures still remain above freezing for the Midwest and the Northeast. But the Northwest is definitely getting their share of cold wear. And it seems like every week there is a system coming in from the Northwest that's trailing a system that's moving across the Midwest into the Northeast. And this last major big system here at the end of October looks like it's going to have some much colder air to follow it around the 25th. And this is the end of October, so this is about the time we start to see the snowflakes fly in the Great Lakes and the Northeast. And it looks like, Marian, you can hold me to this. I told you there's going to be snow on the ground up here by Halloween, and right now the temperature trend is certainly setting up to actually show that as well.
I kill you.
But as far as, hurricane activity in the Gulf and the Atlantic, right now, guys, there's slight chances for some storms to develop, but everything is spun away from the coast. And if these models are continuing to hold true, I think we'll continue to see storms move away from the United States. Here is that yin-yang looking temperature contrast here. This is Friday. Look at this. I mean, Tennessee is celebrating temperatures in the mid-70s, while high temperatures in South Dakota on Friday struggle to make it out of the 20s. Unreal. So fall is definitely here, and we are going to feel the cold front here. Look at this. Highs in the mid-50s in Texas on the 13th of October. That's this weekend. So most of that Indian summer has now escaped from us. Still some heat in the south, southeast, but for the most part, we're gorgeous across the southern plains. 60s, low 70s. But the northern plains still staying cold. 20s, 30s, and 40s. Try to heat up again here around mid-month in the south. But another push from the Arctic is spilling through Canada into the lower 48, keeping temperatures below average for the northern plains, the Midwest, and after the middle of the month, we'll probably see more below average temperatures in the Northeast as well. Some heat trying to make its way up once again from the south, but that cold air from the Arctic is not going to allow it. There's another high pressure system moving its way through the country on the 21st. This might be that last push before we finally start to see true fall kick in as more cold air coming in from the north, spilling into the upper Midwest, the northern plains. Look at this. On October 24th, everybody in the United States, except for Southern California, it's going to be beautiful like always, but we'll all be in the 50s or lower. And Florida, I forgot, they're going to be in the 60s. So fall is here, lots of cold air spilling into the United States. Here we are on the 25th. Temperatures are definitely trending on the down. A high temperature in Syracuse, New York, forecasted for the 25th of October is going to be 40 degrees. 44 in Cleveland, 47 in Cincinnati. Parts of Nebraska, 65 degrees. Kansas, 76 in the northwest corner. I mean, cold weather, folks. Chilly, but it is fall. Nothing too dramatic. But we are seeing a lot of blue, in my opinion, for this time of year as well. So it looks like our frosts begin here around the 14th and 15th, actually this week. We see a lot more action of freeze starting this week. Oh, especially tonight and tomorrow. Look at this. Jeez, BC and Alberta, you're done. I saw a combine that was trying to harvest its wheat fields. It's been trying to harvest since August 25th. Snow on the ground. So you think your harvest is bad here in the U.S., it's just as bad in Saskatchewan, Manitoba as well. Freezing temperatures and snow has been falling up there for quite some time. And that colder air is finally starting to spill southward. So that's all I got for you guys tonight. Mari, would you like to come over here and say hello to everybody in our wonderful chat?
I can. I'm going to come over here first.
No.
I'm going to come over here first and I'm going to be a troll. Okay. Oh, yeah. Don't shake your head no, Jake. Thor, the troll. He says, Mari, tell Jake if he wants to watch a real football team, his Patriots play tomorrow night.
Mari, I'm going to send you the picture of the Patriots fans on how they eat corn on the cob, and I'd like for you to send that to Thor.
I will.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I
Mari
remember
knows.
that picture.
Yeah. You got to come in now, Thor. I was recommending your pictures for oil paintings, and this is the thanks that I get.
Oh, boy.
Golly.
Man. And he's a mod,
By the way,
too.
ice is on the rise, but go ahead, Mari. Nothing to see here, folks.
Oh, you guys all crack me up. So, let's see. Someone asked where did the scary global warming go, Jake? Some people are recommending Ask Al Gore. Cheryl says, geez, Jake, is there any good news? Mr. Doom? Did we have anything? The people dancing. Extinction Rebellion is dancing for climate change.
Sorry, I mean, today was pretty active. Good Lord. I mean, it's kind of, not just weather news, but all over the world. There's just all kinds of tensions. I do apologize, but it's kind of the vibe I'm catching from our planet right now, unfortunately.
There is a lot going on, and it's not very fun to watch.
No.
We feared having a fall like this since when? Spring.
Since May.
Well,
and only because we knew what was happening in the southern hemisphere. That's why we're like, oh crap.
And here we are.
And it's happening.
I don't know, I wasn't paying attention to your weather report. If I know the southern tip of Australia is going to get some snow, weren't they?
I haven't checked it.
Anyway.
I can look.
Not a nice spring for them. I don't know.
New South Wales, maybe. It's possible.
I was seeing it more.
Yeah. That's where you're going to find it. If we get any late, and there was a couple of blips, so it's possible. There's still cold air. Yeah, there's still cold air moving over that area, so it's not quite done. And off into the west left of your screen at the end of this model run, you'll see a major low pressure system with some light snow in it. I'll try to pause it when we get to the end here.
All right, so while you're doing that, Bonnie Blue says the 2 million without power, that's 800 points of power to shut off. I'm assuming that's 800,000 points of shut off, which would equate to
families.
A population
Gotcha. Okay.
Of being affected of well over 200 or what was it?
2 million, 2.7 million, up to 3 million. That makes a lot of sense.
That makes sense. We're always cautious with our facts and figures here. We don't want to, blow things
But
out
thank
of
you,
the water.
Bonnie Blue. We appreciate that.
And then a naughty mouse. But
a naughty mouse?
Yeah, well, he's trying to figure out a way to keep the deer out of his garden. Judy said put chicken wire or even human hair from hairbrushes. And Richard Davidson... he said, put some ivory bar soap on a string around your plants. The deers hate the smell.
Huh.
I love the little tips that we get in the chat. And Richard is a wealth of information. Hi, Richard. And let's see. We got Tammy, Judy.
Starman, watch out, bud. You guys have a lot of rain hitting you. You too, Henrik. Lots of rain headed out that way.
That's all I got, Jake.
Well, thank you very much, Mari, for your hard work. I
didn't troll you too bad.
No, I love the. By the way, I really do love the new. What do you call it? High graphic detail that we have right now on our logo on our website.
That's not the new logo.
I know it's not.
That's the old logo.
I know
need
it
to
isn't.
Change that.
I'm getting ready to show everyone once again. I just had to.
It's slightly different. It's not a big.
It jumps out, man. It pops.
It's higher resolution. That's what it is.
Very nice.
And I'm doing so many print products with like T-shirts and everything.
Yep.
I need better quality. So
because there's only one Grand Solar Minimum channel.
What are you doing, Jake? What a weirdo. Should I go on my little rant? But someone was saying, well, you're named Grand Solar Minimum, so that's all you should talk about.
There's a lot of things that go involved with Grand Solar Minimum. That's not all about the science. We have to talk about the climate that's affected by the space weather that happens during Grand. Come on, you know this. Anyway.
I was hoping I'd make them giggle. Okay. Like, well, Fox News doesn't report on foxes all the time. No. Like giggle.
But what does the fox say?
Does it really matter what we're named? After all, Jake.
Well, then let's change the channel name to Gargamel's Garden. If it doesn't matter. Gargamel's Garden it is. All right, guys. So
Jake. We'll have to get you back on web camera and everyone can see your beard.
Well, I'm getting ready for the winter. It's coming, I hear. All right, guys. That's going to do it for us tonight on our Wednesday night broadcast. Sorry there wasn't a lot of great news out there. We still hope you got some information out of this. There's lots of things to pay attention to. Keep your eyes open, folks. We'll be back tomorrow morning with the solar update. And as well, Friday night we'll be live again for another Grand Solar Minimum News update. Until our next broadcast, we will talk soon. Have a great night, guys.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.